we're always talking about how the game needs more content, but that's not the game's biggest problem. Diablo 2 and Diablo 3 had less endgame content. It's because the loot in this game sucks. That's the biggest problem. Like, this game has more content than any Diablo games ever had at launch. Ever. I think they thought it would be super cool to make, like, all the yellows be upgradable into legendaries, but I feel like the end result is turning all legendaries, like, essentially every legendary that drops is a worse yellow because it comes with a power on it that, like, it makes it non-tradable, and then you have to decide between the base stats and the legendary power, and if they don't go good together, you can only pick one. You can't keep both. It basically just turns legendaries into rares, not the other way around. No, you can change the aspect on the legendary. What I'm saying is, say you get a legendary power, like you get a legendary, like, naturally dropping on the ground, right? And you pick it up, and it has good base stats, and it has good legendary power, right? But you already have that legendary power on something else. So you want to, like, take the legendary power off, but then you lose the base item. You can't separate them. So it effectively becomes, like, a worse legendary because you can't trade it. You can't separate the powers. Whereas if it just drops as a rare, you can trade it. You can put any power you want on it. So it's like, I don't know. I feel like when you get a legendary, it's not exciting because it's basically just a yellow with limits to it. I don't know if that makes sense. Like in Diablo 2, when a unique item drops, you immediately, as soon as it hits the ground, you know what the item is. You know if it's good for your build. You know, you get that immediate dopamine hit. In this game, you're picking up 40 items. Then you have to go to town, look at every single one, decide if it's good or not, then slap a power onto it, then upgrade it. It's just like, I don't know. It's weird. In theory, the whole aspect thing was a cool idea. Like, I like being able to customize the gear, but in like actual practice, it just feels like busy work. Like, their whole thing is, we don't want you, sitting in an auction house because you're not finding the items, you're not out there killing monsters finding items. Whereas now we're finding the items, but we're finding so many that we're having to sit in town for 5 minutes between every dungeon going through all the shit. It's like, come on. So, like, itemization is just a huge bummer in this game. But you can change aspects on legendaries, but not uniques. True. Accurate. Yeah, uniques are a completely different issue. Whereas, like, I think uniques are cool, but there's not nearly enough of them. And they need to be able to roll more than 4 powers. Or 4 stats plus the unique power. Because, like, they choose which affixes roll on the uniques, right? They're predetermined. So they could easily have some that roll 6 powers or whatever. Because, like, I think the Oculus is a perfect example. Because it basically, it has like a kiss curse mechanic on it, right? Where it gives you a bunch of extra points to teleport, but then makes your evade turn into a teleport that just randomly teleports you. Which is kind of cool, but the item itself has no offensive stats whatsoever. So it doesn't, the kiss doesn't make up for the curse. Like, there's almost 0 cases where it's going to be worth using it. You'd rather have an auction house? And that's a problem, honestly. Like, if we have a game where we would rather have an auction house, we shouldn't need that. Like, we should just be able to go out and kill stuff and actually get loot that's meaningful, not 99% of things that we salvage or sell to a vendor.